Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good
Yeah.
evening. Good evening. Finally to have you.
Sorry, I had some problem with the connections and Zoom and so on and so forth, but now that's happily behind me.
No problem. Thank you so much for joining us today. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan. He's the former mission director of the Atal Innovation Mission, and he's come here to share his thoughts around India's youth and entrepreneurship. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Kalzin. And it is indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be able to join you all today on this very important event, I think, not only for us who are participating in this audience, but for the world in general. After all, we are living in unprecedented times. A simple virus has paralyzed countries across the world. It has created grievous disruption to lives and livelihoods. It has created grievous disruption to supply chains. It has created national lockdowns under whose effect we are still reeling. It has also, unfortunately, created a fear of uncertainty. What does the future hold for us? What about other problems that we have been thinking about, anticipating, but not yet faced with the full ferocity of the COVID-19 crisis? For example, what about climate change? We have all been talking about the effects of climate change and the possible repercussions of the same, but we have not experienced it the way we have experienced COVID, nor have we experienced the issues related to other potential global pandemics in the horizon. So this has created a fear of uncertainty. However, I would also venture to add to all the young students who are out there, the young, brilliant innovators, the budding potential startup creators who are all out there listening to this particular broadcast, and to all the students of the India MUN. This is also an unprecedented opportunity for innovation and for entrepreneurship. We are, after all, a country of 1.3 billion people in India. We have more than 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young students like you entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. We have this enormous energy, this youthful energy, this transformative energy coursing through our country. And we have the benefit of being able to not only change the future of tomorrow for our own country, but also for the rest of the world. So my dear young students who are out there and young budding innovators, this is the time. This is the opportunity. This is the moment that you have all been waiting for. Now, why do I say this with so much confidence? We're also living in a world where technology is changing the very shape of the world that we are all living in. Technology has become affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. Technology is changing the way you are experiencing the world and the way the world is experiencing you. We are therefore living in an era where technology is making a huge difference. 3D printing is revolutionizing the way you're able to conceptualize, define, prototype, productize, and manufacture a product right in front of your eyes from your small kirana store, from your small humble home, garage, or from your classroom. Robotics is driving the next degree of automation and productivity. Sensory technologies and sensor technologies are being integrated into man, machine, device, soil, space. And this is enabling us to gather large amounts of valuable data, which can be used and which can be processed at lightning speeds because of 5G communication, because of wireless technologies, because of space and satellite technologies, which are now able to communicate vast amounts of data between machine to machine, between man to man, between human beings to machine, between factories to factories, and between countries to countries. And this data, which is being driven at large speed from various amounts of feeds, whether it be the sensors integrated into a soil for precision agriculture, or in the trains or in the cars for automated transportation, or in the satellites in the space where you're able to gather valuable images and be able to broadcast it across to the rest of the world. All of these technologies are making it possible for us to use artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is nothing new. It has been talked about for the last several years. Even when I was graduating from IIT Bombay in 1981, we used to be talking about artificial intelligence. But never in the history of the world has artificial intelligence made so much sense as of now? Because you have the ability, the vast ability, and the incredible power of advanced computing, advanced communications, advanced data processing, big data analytics, and supercomputing, nanocomputing technologies, which are all coming to the fore in order to create artificial intelligence systems. You needed this convergence of computing, data processing, data communication, data gathering, and powerful hardware to be able to make artificial intelligence a reality. And that is now enabling us to rethink of the entire world in terms of solutions that we can create, not only for addressing the challenges that we have, but also for the future. Now, what are the challenges that we have? We are still a country of where 22% of our country is below the poverty line. We have 44% of our country, which is agri-economy based. We have over 650,000 villages in our country. We have more than 8,000 small towns and cities, and we have only 8 tier 1 cities where people are all trying to gather and flock to and migrate to in order to have a sustainable livelihood or improve the quality of their lives. Now, that's clearly an unsustainable way of growth for any country. What we need is 8,000 hubs, not 8 hubs, of innovation and job creation. If you're in Goa, for example, how do you foster innovation and how do you foster local job creation for the fishing industry, for the tourism industry, for the cashew nut industry, for the shipbuilding industry, or for the mining industry? That's what Goa needs, not innovation which is fit for Bombay or for Delhi, but what Goa needs. And so also every one of our 650,000 villages have the ability to be created as hubs of innovation and job creation based upon the local need, based upon the local requirements, and based upon the local expertise that is available in the people there. For example, if you're in Rajasthan or if you're in Jodhpur, how do you boost innovation in the handicrafts, in the rural crafts or the precision agriculture areas so that you are able to market your products and your services from Jodhpur to Japan, from Salem to San Francisco, from Sikkim to Seattle? That, my dear friends, is the opportunity in front of you. And therefore, you all have to grab this with both your hands and become the innovators and the job creators of the future. What we need is not a nation of just job seekers. What we need is a nation of job creators, people who have the ability to use their creative intelligence like all of you. Every one of you is having the latent talent, is having the latent creativity, is having the latent capability of becoming an innovator, a job creator, an entrepreneur. The great Abdul Kalam said, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you will be limited by your own dreams. Now, where did Abdul Kalam come from? He came from the humble town of Rameshwaram, a town which is in the coastal side of India, a town which probably has a few schools, 1 or 2 schools, 1 or 2 colleges, 1 or 2 universities, but it has thousands of temples and thousands of fishing boats. Now, from such a town came this man who rose on to become one of the finest scientists the country has seen. He rose on to become one of the finest human beings to have graced this planet. And he became the president of India. He said, dream big, my dear friends, and you'll achieve great things. Dream small, and you'll be limited by your own dreams. And therefore, I would encourage every one of you who is on this particular call. You all have to dream big. You all have to dream to be the change makers of tomorrow. You all can dream to be the Steve Jobs, the Satya Nadella, the Sundar Pichai. Look at Indians, how they are now dominating the technology industry all across the world. We have a Sundar Pichai heading Google. We have a Satya Nadella heading Microsoft. You have an Arvind Krishna heading IBM. You have Twitter being headed by Parag. You have Shantanu Narayan heading Adobe. These are all top world-class companies, among the top 10 in the world, and they're all being led by Indians. Now that, my dear students and my dear friends and my innovators, is the opportunity in front of you. Now, how did they become big? They became big because they are availing themselves of an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship where they were able to blossom to their full potential. We are, therefore, similarly in India, we are creating the same ecosystem that is going to create a culture of innovation amongst the young youth of India. And that's how this program, the MUN program for Sustainable Development Goals and Innovation, is being conceived. We need to create that culture of innovation in our young students. And how does a culture of innovation start? It starts with being able to and willing to look at problems in and around the communities that you are living in and solve those problems. You have to be a problem solver, not a person who is complaining about problems. You have to be the person who is creating the solution, the next innovative solution, the next startup to be able to address that. And we have indeed tremendous opportunity in India to create solutions. We are a country with 1 billion people and 1 million challenges. But 1 million challenges are 1 million opportunities for each one of you to be able to become an innovator and an entrepreneur of the future. Now, let me explain to you what are some of the challenges which we have. If you look at our country, we have 715 districts, out of which 115 are called aspirational districts because they are at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of basic access to healthcare, education, clean drinking water, sanitation, waste management, affordable housing, livelihoods, and quality of lives. Now, every one of these challenges that I talked about are areas of opportunity for us to be able to bring technology to the fore. Technologies like 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality to be able to solve the problems. We have therefore in India set up at Atal Innovation Mission, which I was very fortunate to be part of, we have set up thousands of what are known as tinkering labs in schools. These are for grade 6 to grade 12 students, so that these students get an opportunity to be able to tinker with, play with, in an atmosphere of fun and learning with technologies like 3D printing, robotics through do-it-yourself kits. Now, what do they do with this do-it-yourself kits? They create solutions for problems they see in and around the community. So 4 students group together, 4 or 5 students, and each of them brings a certain perspective and a certain capability. Somebody will be good in conceiving an idea. Somebody will be good in creating a solution. Somebody will be good in putting together the hardware and the software in order to create a solution. Someone would be good in communicating and represent it through a website and so on. So we need innovation which is being created by a group of people who are tinkering with technology, looking at a problem around the community. From your school to your home, when you are traveling, just look around and you will find so many problems to solve. When you're crossing traffic, how do you, for example, help the disabled or the differently abled or the person who is having visually challenged? How do you enable him to cross the road using sensor technologies? There are many solutions that have been created, and it's amazing to see how young students from schools are now creating innovations. For example, in Salem, you have a girls' school which has created a solar panel IoT-based irrigation management system for precision agriculture, because the farmers there always find lack of water and they don't find enough soil fertilizers to be able to breed their crops. So using precision agriculture, for example, in Israel, now they're exporting food by creating food in a desert. Because when you give the right amount of watering and irrigation and the fertilizers and the right type of pesticides for preventing crop disease, you suddenly have the ability to create a bountiful crop in any part of the world, whether it be a desert or whether it be in a rainy place. That's the sort of technology help that we are getting. So my dear young innovators out there, this is your time. This is your moment. Seize it and become the innovators of the future. We have set up 10,000 tinkering labs across the country, and more than 6 million young students are innovating today. I hope your school and your college is having a tinkering lab for you to be able to participate in and unleash your creativity. And when you go to college and when you go to universities, and those who are already in universities, we have created world-class incubators. There are more than 400 incubators in India today created by organizations like Atal Innovation Mission, the DST, DBT, and so on. And more than 55,000 startups are there in our country. We are a startup nation. You have to become a startup. You don't become just an employee of an organization. Create your own company. You have the ability, and today you have the tools, the technology, the empowerment. India is a rising economy, one of the fastest rising economies of the world. And it is also one of the fastest growing innovative nations of the world. So you, my dear young students, have the opportunity to join the innovation bandwagon and reap the harvest that is being sown across the country. And in order to be able to bring the benefits of innovation to the rural masses, to the common man. We cannot just create innovation to increase the GDP of our country. What we need is to enable our planet to become a sustainable planet. This is the only planet we know. This is the only earth that we have. So we have to sustain it. And that is why the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, become the opportunities for innovation for you. And if you look at these goals, what are they talking about? How do you eliminate poverty? How do you create water management so that we don't run out of water? There are already countries, for example, in Cape Town and many other countries who have run out of water. We just cannot afford that. Water is needed to sustain our life. We need to eliminate poverty. We need to ensure affordable housing. We need to ensure education for all. We need to ensure renewable energies rather than polluting the atmosphere. Now, every one of them can become an opportunity for you to innovate and to become an entrepreneur. That's why today you have an Elon Musk who has risen suddenly through his Tesla electric car, who is now exploring space so that you can have Mars as an alternative planet for us to be able to live on. Look at the possibilities. It is amazing, isn't it? And you are born at a time when you can make a difference because of all this available to you. I didn't have any of this when I was growing up. Only now I see all of this accessible to me. And you, my dear young students, you are young. You are full of energy. You're full of ideas. You're full of creativity. You can apply all of that and you have the life in front of you to be able to make a difference. The great Swami Vivekananda said that if you have a belief in 1,000 gods and goddesses, but do not have belief in yourself, you are doomed. My dear young students, have extraordinary belief in yourself. Believe that you can make a difference. Believe that you will make a difference. Yes, we can, said Obama, and he rose on to become the first Black president of the United States. Yes, I can. Every one of you should say, and you all should become the next innovator, the next Satya Nadella, the next Sundar Pichai, the next Abdul Kalam, the next Ramanujam that India needs. We as a country have been a very innovative country right from the beginning of civilization. Our civilization is very old. So innovation runs in the DNA of our country. And my dear young students, all of you, you are born innovators. So in the great words of Swami Vivekananda, arise, awake, and stop not till your goals are reached. Can I ask you therefore, my dear young audience who's out there, arise to the opportunities that are there in front of you to create a sustainable world. Awaken from within you that latent talent, that energy, that creativity, that innovation that has always been part of you, but you have not allowed it to express itself. And stop not till the Atmanirbhar Bharat goals, as well as the sustainable development goals of the world are reached. I'm sure, yes, we can. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this particular occasion.